Well, let's speak to an expert. Noel McDermott is a psychotherapist and founder of Mental Health Works Limited, who work with parents and young children concerning social media. Thank you for coming on. Mr. McDermott, when you heard those figures, you've probably read a copy of this already. Your initial reaction? Good morning.
It's a disaster, and parents need to understand it. Young children, their personalities and minds and brains are still forming, and whatever you put in front of them is what the adult is going to be. And we don't really want that. Kids, young children in particular, don't have enough psychological development to be able to make the distinction between real and not real. And these social media platforms already blur that distinction. That's why they're so powerful. That's why they make billions from them, because they can get inside your head and convince you of things that are not necessarily true.
I know I can rely on you not to say any names, but have you worked with young people? Have you helped them as a psychotherapist? And what sort of issues have they told you about?
Yeah, we tend to work at the more extreme edge, so, forgive me if I discuss that. But the anxiety, the depression, the body dysmorphia, eating disorders, suicidal ideation, please excuse the triggering terminology. Mm-hmm. All these things are rampant on those profiles. You have things called pro-ana sites, which laud anorexic bodies. You have, which should be illegal and hopefully will be illegal, but there are ways around it. So there's an awful lot of darkness out there which is unregulated, and the social media platforms don't want to be regulated. They kick up a fuss any time. It's a bit like when people were arguing about having safety belts in cars. Do you remember clunk click every trip?
Yes, clunk click every trip. Barbara Castle, I even remember the name of the Transport Secretary who brought it in, Mr. McDermott.
And I remember when it came in, and I remember people at the time going, this is an infringement on my personal rights, etc. But it saved lives, and it's time we recognise that we need to start saving lives.
That's very powerful speak. When you say saving lives,
yes.
You're saying, well, sorry, then ultimately what is the grave conclusion to which this could lead us?
This is the largest unregulated social experiment on the planet ever. And it's not going well at the moment. It's just not. And we need to come to terms with that.
What's happening in the kid's brain when he or she is bombarded with these sort of messages?
So when we're born, very brief neurological stuff. When we're born, we have far more brain matter than we're going to need. Every interaction we have forms neurological strata, forms actual physical structures inside our brain. And until 24, the age of 24, that is in overdrive. Within to 4, within the years 2 to 4, I would say, even more. It's so extraordinary. People want to see how this works. You can just Google now. If you Google severely neglected children's brains MRI studies, you can see children have been neglected, what happens to their brain development. So our brains develop through interaction with the world. That's the bottom line. Whatever you're interacting with is going to form your personality. What we want our young children in particular to be interacting with is kind, loving adults in their life and real world events so that they can form a personality structure which is stable and based upon what we need as social animals, which is attachment to human beings, not attachment to machines.
Lastly, let me read you what one teacher told a survey by the Kindred Squared charity. Quotes, "I've got 2 children in my class who physically cannot sit on the carpet. They don't have core strength. When I went to visit one of the girls in July, she'd never been to a nursery. She'd been sat in a corner sofa on an iPad, so she hasn't developed her core strength, and it's really affecting her whole development." What would you say to that young girl's parents?
I think it's about education for parents. I would never, ever sort of get into finger pointing and blaming. As a society, we need to take responsibility for it. So the corporate parent...
Well, it's not my fault, respectfully, Mr. McDermott. What am I meant to do?
The corporate parent needs to take this on board because... an individual parent can't regulate Facebook. That's not possible for them to do. They can't regulate Instagram. That's something we have to do as a society, that we have to look at these issues.
Noel McDermott is a psychotherapist and founder of Mental Health Works Limited, working with parents of young people. Thank you for your input on that.